let's see what happens when we define a function. So let's keep those there. But I am going to define a function called add numbers wrongly. This is the most useless function you'll ever do, but it will serve us a purpose. So I'm going to say define add numbers wrongly. We've talked about functions, so you know all about defining functions. I'm going to put two parameters in here, first and second, or A and B if you want, but I don't like single letter variables. So let's call them first and second. First number, second number. And what this function is going to do is it's going to say the result is, bizarrely, the first number plus the second number, but plus some random number between -5 and 5. So it's going to add these numbers, and most likely it's going to add them wrongly. It is possible that 0 comes out here, so it is possible to get the right answer, but more likely than not, we're going to get the wrong answer. Okay, and then we've seen that creating results inside the function creates a local variable. So this variable exists only inside the function. We'll see how this relates to Monty and the white room in a second. But we will need to return result. Now, if I run this code, will I see add numbers wrongly run? The answer is no. I can see print my name, shows me Stephen, but this doesn't happen. Why? Because what I've done so far is define the function. So let's go to Monty in the analogy. In lines 7, 8, and 9, Monty builds a second room. So he's currently, you've got the main program, your main room, the one we've been in so far, where you have the shelves have the random book, which we brought from the library, and the box labeled my name, and the red booklet, which is always there. When Monty sees define add numbers wrongly, he goes and builds another room, which is adjacent to the main room. So now there's a door. From the main room, there's a door leading to another room, another mini program, if you like, because each room is its own program, right? And the door leading from the main room to the function room has a label. And that label is the name of the function. In this case, add numbers wrongly. So from now on, whenever I type in add numbers wrongly, what does Monty do? Monty looks around the room. He doesn't find a box with that name. He doesn't find a book with that name. But he's going to see a door with the label add numbers wrongly. And that tells Monty this is a function. And then the parentheses tells Monty, what do I want to do with this function? I want you to go through the door and enter the function room. That's what calling the function means. We're telling Monty that the function name by itself tells Monty that's a function. So what? What do you want me to do with it? So Monty knows you're referring to that function, but he doesn't go through the door. The parentheses is how we call the function. So now Monty will go through the door. But when you define the function, you told Monty, or you told your program, there are two parameters here. So when Monty created this new room, the function room, with the label add numbers wrongly on the door, just inside the function room, he put a table with two empty cardboard boxes. One of them was labeled first, the other one was labeled second. These are the parameter names, the names you choose to put in the parentheses when you define the function. Now, these boxes are empty because when you define the function, there's nothing in them yet. But it means that whenever Monty is going to be in the function room, there will be these boxes and there will be something in them once we call the function. So we can use their names within the function, within the code that happens inside the function room. You can use first and you can use second, because these are boxes that exist in the function room. We'll see that these boxes only exist in the function room, but we'll get to it in a bit. So let us call this function, and let's say 3 and 8, and let's say output equals, and let's print output. So we have a function in code. Let's check that this code works. There you go. We got 13 there, but every time I run it, I'm going to get a different number. Well, I can get a different number, because every time we're taking 8 plus 3, but we're also adding anything from -5 to 5. So this is the wrong addition. So what does Monty do? When Monty sees that code, those lines, he creates the function room. He doesn't do anything yet except for create the function room with a door adjacent to the main room. And there are these two empty boxes labeled first and second inside the function room. When later on in your code, in this case it's immediately after, but this could be at any other point in the code, Monty sees add numbers wrongly. He looks around the room, sees the label on the door, he knows it's a function. The parentheses tell him that you want him to go through, open the function door and go into the function room. But before doing that, he needs to take something with him. In this case, he's going to take the integer 3 and the integer 8. It could be more items, right, or fewer. But in this case, he's got 2 items to take, the integer 3, the integer 8. He goes, opens the add numbers wrongly door. As soon as he goes in, he finds 2 boxes. So he takes the first item he's holding, number 3, and puts it in the first box, which happens to be labeled first. And then he takes the second item he's holding, the integer 8 in this case, and puts it in the next box, which is the one labeled second. Remember, Monty's in the function room now. So he takes these boxes, now that he's filled them, he can put them on the shelves. So he's now in the function room. There are 2 boxes, one called first, one called second. And now we're going to create a third box. So we're asking him, fetch a box in the function room, label it result, look inside first. He knows what first is, right? Because there is a box called first in the function room. He finds what's inside it. Then he looks at second. Then he's going to look at random. Now he is in the function room, and the function room doesn't have a book labeled random. But when you call a function, Monty opens the door to go through from the main room to the function room, but he leaves that door open. So while he's working in the function room, the door to the main room is still open. This means Monty still has access to everything that's in the main room. So in this case, he looks for random inside the function room. He doesn't find it anywhere, but he looks outside into the main room, and there he finds something called random. It's the book called random, so he can still use it. And therefore, he knows what random is. He will find randint inside that book, work out a number. Back in the function room, remember he's still in the function room here, he's going to take the result of first plus second plus whatever random number came from random.randint and store it inside the box called result. This is in the function room. There is no box called result in the main room. This will be important in a second. Good. Monty moves on to line 9. He sees return, which means his job is done. He can leave the function room, but before doing so, he's going to fetch result, which is a box labeled result. He will not take this box with him to the main program. He will not take the entire box called result. Instead, he's going to fetch the contents of result. In this case, this is the number 8, whatever the answer of first plus second plus the random number is. So he does not take the whole box labeled result. He only takes its contents with him back to the main program. This is important because, for example, if I had to print, or rather, if I had to, after calling the function, print result, you can see that Python doesn't like it. On line 13, name result is not defined. Line 13 is in the main program. There is no box called result in the main program. This is why result is a local variable, and it's why when we return, we're not returning the whole box labeled result, only its contents. And this is why when I call the function, if it returns something that I want to keep, I want to store in the main room, I need to put it in another box. In this case, I've called this box output. And in the main room, I now have a box called output. Its contents are whatever Monty brought back from the function room, whatever he returned from the function room. And therefore, in the main room now, when Monty finishes the function, he'll shut the door behind him, so he no longer has access to anything in the function room. But he brought with him a certain result, which goes into the box labeled output. And therefore, on line 13, in the main room, Monty sees output. There's a box called output. He will find a number in there, which happens to be whatever he brought back when he went to the function room. Now I can call a function another time, new output equals add numbers wrongly 1 comma 5. And now I have print new output. So now I have two numbers being printed. Output is what came back the first time Monty called this function. So the first time Monty will go to the function room, open the door, take 3 and 8 with him, do whatever he needs to do, come back, close the door behind him. Whatever result he got, he will put inside output. Then he's going to move to the next line and say, oh, what do you want me to do in the next line, Stephen? Oh, you want me to add numbers wrongly. Let me look. That's a function. You want me to go through the function door. Take with me 1 and 5 this time. So this time, when he goes to the function room the second time, he's taking different inputs with him. So first will be the number 1 and second will be the number 5. He will do whatever the function needs to do. When he comes back, he'll bring in a different result this time, which goes into new output. This is why functions are reusing code, because every time you call the function, you will redo whatever the function says, but with different inputs if you have parameters and arguments. And then the function will return something back to the main program. So that's Monty and how Monty deals with defining functions, which is what's happening there, creating a separate room, and then calling functions, going through the function door, into the function room, doing whatever is needed, and then coming back out.